All right, so thank you everybody for coming to the very first Pinkies Out Coffee Break. So for those of you that don't know what Pinkies Out is, it's a coffee club that I started as Vancouver Coffee Snob probably about a year ago. And the idea was it was to get people together inside of a coffee shop and to drink coffee together. And that has been tasting coffee, that has been trying different types of cold brew, it's been all sorts of things. Obviously, COVID has put the brakes on that. So I thought about a way to get it online, and we came up with Pinkies Out Coffee Break, which is what we're on right now. And every week I want to interview someone awesome inside of the coffee industry. And this is going to be free for anyone that wants to come along or donate. So in this situation, we had a bunch of donations. The donations either go to the person who I'm interviewing, in this case, it's Jamie, who I'll intro in just a second, or the donation goes to the Vancouver food and beverage community. And that is a fund that was set up by some awesome people that gives out money to people in need in the food and beverage community to pay bills. So maybe they're $100 short to pay their rent this month, and we give them, or sorry, they give them that $100. In this case, Jamie has graciously decided to give that money to that fund. So that's awesome, and I really appreciate that. So without further ado, I will actually introduce this cheeky bugger, as I called him earlier. And I just call him a cheeky bugger because we're obviously in Canada and everybody loves it when I use the Englishisms. I milk it, to be completely honest with you. I'm sure you
got to. I actually do, yeah.
Yeah. So for those of you that aren't aware of who this guy is, Jamie Smith, who I see him in the top left. I don't know where you guys see him on your screen. He is the director of coffee for Nemesis Coffee. He's been in the country for about 18 months. He kind of hails from England, from the north of England. Now, for those of you that don't know much about England, I'm from the south of England. That's where all the posh people are. And we've got the friendly people up in the north of England. I'm actually an asshole in real life. Jamie is one of the most lovely people you will ever meet. And he is the guy that puts the incredible coffee onto the shelves in Nemesis, amongst other things, as well as being a blogger. Although I haven't seen much on his blog recently. I think it peaked when he interviewed me, which...
That was the pinnacle of my career.
Yeah,
end on a high.
And so what we're going to do today is we're going to have a chat with Jamie, and he's going to teach us a little bit about the coffee industry, and we're going to talk about Nemesis and anything else that comes up. Jamie, did I miss anything with your intro there?
I think that was pretty much it, apart from my great moustache that I'm now growing. Can you see?
I can see that. Yeah, that
adjusts. It looks like a little cat has scratched my top lip or something.
So just to add on top of that, Jamie is also the purveyor of one of the world's finest moustaches. Definitely doesn't look like the kind of person that should be banned from being around schools.
So true.
So, Jamie, thank you very much for being the first guest of Pinkies Out Coffee Break. I really appreciate it. Obviously, I'm a big fan, have been for a while, and it's going to be awesome to chat to you today, mate.
Yes, likewise, brother.
So, tell me a little bit about how you first got started in coffee.
I suppose first got started in coffee, or the first time I realised coffee was something special was in Australia, as every barista seems to do. It was like one cup of coffee that kind of changed my life. It was, I noticed a guy take his time brewing a coffee. He ended up actually throwing the first shot away that he pulled, brewed a second one. I was like, what the hell is this guy doing? Why is it taking 5 minutes to get my coffee? A few minutes later, I received the coffee, took a sip, and it just was like, wow, this is something incredibly different to what I was used to. Used to drinking like instant coffee or French press with 6 scoops from the supermarket. It was like super extracted. So yeah, it was just interesting. It was that moment of like, this is something different. I'm tasting fruit instead of just tasting burnt ash. So yeah, that was the moment that I realised this was something that I could potentially be passionate about. Mm-hmm. So after that, I just continued to drink coffee in Australia. And then I moved to New Zealand, where I realised I didn't want to be in the motor trade anymore. I wanted to pursue my career in coffee. So I went to Auckland. I actually worked at the same cafe as Sam Lowe, who used to work at Nemesis, New Zealand barista champion. So yeah, I worked in Mojo for a few months, and just that was the start of it. That was that was when I just fell in love with coffee even more, and it's been a bit of a journey ever since.
Nice. So were there any major differences between the coffee scene over in New Zealand, Australia, and Vancouver?
Oh, very much so. Yeah, the culture is completely different. It's the way that they enjoy coffee is all through the day. It's not just like a quick morning fix. It's a social occasion. It's obviously the weather helps. It's very outdoors. People just tend to sit and socialize. Brunch is huge over there. So it's definitely starting to feel more and more like Australia and New Zealand and England every year. Yeah. I've noticed a big difference in the past year, but it's a little bit behind, but it's certainly getting there, and it has so much potential and room to grow.
Agreed entirely. So I used to live over there as well, and obviously they're more mature in their coffee scene than us, but with people like Nemesis, people like Palette, all the way down to your tiny, small one-off shops, like your innovators like Prototype and so on. We're starting to edge towards it. And it's pretty exciting, especially for me that doesn't have to run these shops. And we'll get into that, I'm sure, later on, because it looks like a pain in the ass. So just out of curiosity, where in Auckland did you live?
Ponsnobby.
Ponsnobby.
Yeah, nice. Which is actually very apt, isn't it, really, for yourself?
Yeah, I wasn't a snob because I lived in Auckland for 3.5 years. I was in Grey Lynn.
Yeah, so...
Sorry, go on.
There's a coffee shop just on the corner in Grey Lynn. It's got like a native bird. I can never remember the name of it. But
you're going to hate me for this, but I wasn't into coffee when I lived over there. Barely drank it. I was all about the Starbucks. And I got an origin story very similar to yours, but I'll tell that story another day. But yeah, it's one of those moments where I realized, holy crap, this isn't burnt and disgusting. This is actually delicious. So
yeah, it's nuanced and flavoursome.
I think everybody has one of those stories. But yeah, that was just out of curiosity because of obviously being in New Zealand itself.
It was a fantastic neighbourhood. I lived on like a row where it was just full of like $1 million houses.
Oh yeah.
And then we lived in like a rundown surf shack that was totally out of place. I lived in the shed in the back garden, essentially, with like an outdoor toilet. It was an experience.
Did it have one of those kind of flappy doors like they have in the Cowboy Times where you have to sit?
A saloon door.
Yeah, that's right. And with like a
not quite, no.
half moon cut into the door.
No, there was a trough outside from a horse, though.
I love New Zealand. It's that perfect mix of like a brand new modern society mixed with like, is this a Victorian approach to doing something? You know, like horse and cart style stuff. But I love it. Okay, so you've been in Vancouver for 18 months.
2 years now.
Is it 2 years?
Very, very close. 4th of June I arrived, so almost 2 years. Yeah.
Okay, that was my own little kind of sleuthing. I went back into your blog and tried to see when you like landed and see if I could work it out.
Yeah.
All right, 2 years.
It's close. It's close.
So during that 2 years, then, can you remember any standout coffee moments that are popping in your mind that you want to talk about?
We did a cupping with Cole Trudeau. Can't remember. Can never pronounce it.
I know who you mean. From Rosso.
From Rosso, yeah, that was pretty special. He just came. I think he was training somebody for barista competition nationals, and he just ended up to like pop into the shop coincidentally as we was doing the cupping, and then he kind of just pulled out like 5 or 6 incredible coffees that he just had in his bag.
Yeah.
With his spoon, and yeah, it's some like really fantastic lots. Some very, very interesting coffees.
Nice.
So that was probably one of them. And then the Nemesis dinners as well was certainly a highlight of last year.
Yeah.
Rick will be able to tell you about them. He was an avid attendee. So yeah, they were really good. Where it was like pairing very like interesting coffees with food. With Jacob as well as he was like the culinary director at the time.
Yep.
So that was super interesting to delve into food, how it pairs with coffee.
Nice.
And then kind of relationships.
I do like your choice of chefs for those events as well. You've brought in some pretty
Yeah,
epic names.
yeah. Vancouver is very fortunate of the level of culinary expertise. I suppose
Yeah,
it's pretty special.
agreed. All right. Well, you mentioned Nemesis. Let's have a quick chat about that then. So Nemesis. I mean, you guys shut down fairly quickly when this whole COVID thing kicked off. So what were your deciding factors about why to shut down so quickly?
I don't know. I think with being like very like international in terms of our like senior management team, it was probably more apparent than other people, and we could see what was going on in Europe. We could see what was going on in the UK, and it was quite obvious that we needed to act quickly and use our social presence to kind of set a trend, I suppose, in some ways. So this is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
This thing is bigger than this thing is bigger than Nemesis. This thing is bigger than coffee. You know, it's a global pandemic, so we needed to act quick. And we also have a lot of friends in the industry from larger companies. Jess is very fortunate to have them relationships, and it was also their advice as well, which was kind of crucial in our decision making.
Yeah. It was interesting to see that you guys were one of the first to decide to shut down, and it was almost like yes, you were one of the first, but pretty much everybody shut down that same day. It was pretty wild to watch. I was trying to do an Instagram update every time somebody announced something, and I could barely keep up. So it was a shock to the coffee scene. It really was. And I know that there were a few people that messaged me when you guys did shut your doors, and it was
Really?
there was some emotional messages.
Yeah, yeah. It was a incredibly rough time for everyone. Having them conversations with people to say that you no longer have a job was super difficult, and I think that'll stay with people for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I think in hindsight, though, it was wholeheartedly the correct decision, as difficult as it was. It was important to set that trend and important to take that social responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
People are at the foundation of Nemesis, so risking their health as well and possibly contaminating others, you know, it was incredibly important to us to make sure everyone was safe.
Yeah. And now after time, what you've been able to do is kind of reevaluate, along with pretty much every other coffee shop right now. And the kind of positive moment for you guys now is that Polygon is limited, reopened.
Correct, yeah. I think in a lot of ways, there's certainly positive outlooks to this. Everyone has adapted, everyone has learned some new skills, everyone has like overcome perhaps personal and mental issues where a few weeks ago they might not have thought they'd be able to do it, but now they've, through like slowly working on their skills, slowly working a way how to adapt, it encourages you to be more positive and prove that you can do it, I suppose.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's many positive outlooks from this situation, I suppose.
So tell me about the reopening then of Polygon. What can people expect when they come for a visit right now?
So at the minute, Polygon's very fortunate with like the way it was designed. It was definitely not designed with this in mind, but it works very well. So we have two doors, one at either side of the cafe. We're utilising one door as an order, and the other door is pickup. So we've got all the lines marked outside, so we can keep that social distancing. We have some like big 6-foot tables, so there's like 6 feet apart from the person ordering to the person on the till. We have contactless payments, so there's no transactions in that, like physical transactions at all. Then once the orders are placed, they walk through the side of the building and pick it up from the other point. So yeah, it's very safe. Everyone's wearing masks and gloves.
That's awesome. So are we talking full service? Can people buy drinks? Can people buy food?
So yeah, so it's very much a condensed menu. In terms of the savoury and the pastry side, it's condensed. We have like 6 items of each, and it's kind of rotating as well, and it's evolving as we work out the requirements of the city and the neighbourhood.
Yeah.
But the drinks menu is reasonably unchanged. We're not offering a single origin guest espresso currently. We're just running with like the main house espresso and decaf, and then we're just using the batch brew as well instead of filter coffee. And that's very much just for speed of service.
So, quick side question for you then: what's your opinion on batch brew?
I love it. It's my absolute favorite. I have a bit of a pet peeve that is called just regular coffee here. It kind of really bugs me, and it's something that I'm definitely wanting to change about Vancouver and Canada as such.
Yeah.
Not that it's a problem, but I just feel like it doesn't do it any justice. You know,
Yeah.
it's a fantastic product. It's very, very consistent. Everyone loves pour overs. The majority of people love pour overs, and they have this passion and respect for it. But then when it comes to regular coffee as such, it's the exact same thing, just on a bigger scale.
Yeah.
So there's no reason. I think batch brew it labels it very well, and it does it justice, whereas regular doesn't. It's kind of a frustration when people just ask for a regular coffee, and it's like, what's a regular coffee?
So that's where you guys, as kind of innovators and builders of, let's call them communities and families and all that kind of stuff, you're very good at the education aspect of it. Are we going to see a little bit more of a push, given that you're in charge of the Instagram account now? We're going to see a little bit more of a push to get rid of that word regular?
Yeah, so very much so. That's why we call it batch brew. It's a slow education, and it's not something that we feel like we are right in saying this, and we don't want to offend anyone by any means or upset anyone. So it's kind of a soft approach, and it's more like you say, a soft educational thing. Like, we call it batch brew because we feel it deserves a bit of a put on a platform as such.
Yeah.
Elevated. But yeah, certainly we have like huge plans for, especially like our in-house training as our locations grow, and that is only going to filter through to the public as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so let's stop talking about Polygon. Let's ask the question that everybody wants to know. Can you tell us? No. Let me reword this. What can you tell us?
No.
about Great Northern Way, the new Nemesis? We keep seeing you tease it on Instagram. So far, I can tell that it's got a roof and the outside is red.
It has a roof. Yeah.
Other than that, there's not much. And I'm assuming you can't tell us much, but I want to see what we can weasel out of it.
What can I tell? It depends how good you are. It depends how much you slip up.
Well, we're fucked then, because if I'm leading the way, I mean, look, I got years of evidence that I'm not good. Look at my website.
No.
But there are a load of amazing people that have joined this this call, and you know, it could be that one of them deserves it.
Yeah, for sure. So I suppose something I can tell you is we have just purchased a roaster. We've gone for the Loring S15 Falcon.
Nice.
Which is huge, which is very, very excited about. For those that don't know, Loring roasts slightly differently to a conventional drum roaster. And it is very, very consistent.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be super exciting to roast on that. We have also, may or may not have seen on Instagram, just hired our green bean buyer and head roaster, Damien.
That is exciting.
That's super exciting. He is incredible, like wholeheartedly. He is a wealth of knowledge, especially from like European style background, also Australia. So very much our roast profile is going to be very, very similar to what we currently serve now. So as a multi-roaster, we serve predominantly Australian and English and European coffees, because England has now left the EU for some strange reason.
Right. Let's not get into that. Let's not get into that. Actually, we're okay. We're over here. It doesn't matter. I'm assuming that your parents, who I believe are watching right now, probably not.
Hi, Dad.
I really want to talk about that.
No, we'll leave that out. So that's going to be definitely our roast profile. We've secured some incredibly interesting coffees. It's going to be super, super exciting.
You're talking about green coffee?
Green coffee, yes.
Okay.
I don't want to say too much, just in case some of it falls through with this kind of global pandemic that we find ourselves in. But it's going to be very, very traceable. Is something what I can say.
Excellent. Yeah, I mean, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
And that's a direction lots and lots of people are moving to. Luna being a prime example of over information. You know, I look at their website and I almost sometimes go, oh, there's too much on here. I just trust them.
Exactly.
I don't need to do this. But they are amazing with their traceability and their transparency. So that's
fantastic. Yeah. It's something that we're really taking note of, and we're definitely going to be following suit with the like powerhouses like Luna. I think what we're going to be doing, we're going to be packaging it slightly different though, kind of like typical Nemesis style designers at the forefront of everything.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very, very design focused and put together in like a really unique package.
Yeah.
Perhaps more visual, perhaps more audio than what people are currently used to receiving this type of knowledge, information.
Outstanding. Do you have an open date yet, or a potential open date if the world gets back to normal?
Yes. So we did, but obviously it's been pushed back now.
Yeah.
So we're probably looking at the end of the year.
Okay.
Just a little bit before, I'd hope. But,
you're in Vancouver.
Yeah.
End of the year.
It's going to be incredible.
The year 2030.
No, definitely this year. 100%.
No, I'm just.
Yeah, you can expect something incredible design, and over the next coming weeks, we're going to be sharing more pictures, more information. As the build out starts to happen, we're going to be documenting it all, so you'll be able to follow the journey as well.
That's fantastic. I know that most of us are keeping an eye on your feed. I've told you this before we actually got started on this, but you're doing a bang up job with the Instagram feed right now. It's regular updates, loads of really interesting information. It's a good example of pushing community over just pictures of coffee.
Exactly,
says the guy that posts a shit ton of pictures of coffee.
No, you do some fantastic work for the community. You're wholeheartedly one of the biggest reasons why Vancouver has a coffee community. So props to you, mate.
You know what? I'll take a bit of props on that one. But we've got you know, aside from me, we've got some people who are doing other amazing things in the community. Alfred Drinking Coffee is another big powerhouse of you know, he does more the actual coffee itself than the coffee shops. Vancouver Barista, rest in peace, no longer around. They were great. There's a Slothy Coffee's got an awesome Instagram account. She's really helping promote local coffee shops. So I've probably missed some people there, and I apologize. It's hard to remember off the top of my head, but I do like that the coffee scene, you know, the internet quote unquote coffee scene is growing in the city, as well as the actual coffee scene itself. What do you think is going to happen, purely speculative, over the next few months with COVID and the coffee scene in Vancouver?
I think we're already starting to see coffee shops opening back up. I think my prediction would be like a 50% capacity in coffee shops. Certainly, perhaps like June 1st, I feel like we might be opening back up again for like 50% capacity. Then by kind of like the end of summer, I'm thinking it might be back to normal.
Yeah. Okay. I hope so.
Me too, mate. It's definitely brutal for Nemesis, especially, I suppose, because we're such a family-orientated company. All of our patients are our family. You know, we know most of them by name, hugs and high fives. You know, to not be able to do that is certainly painful.
You know, of all the coffee shops and of all the, I don't know, social gatherings that exist in this city, I would say that you guys would be the people that I would pick as most affected by not being able to hug and high five. And, you know, physical contact seems to be a really big part of Nemesis. I don't know about you. I always get a little, because as a, you know, stiff upper lip Brit, I always find it kind of difficult to understand when to hug people in Canada and when to shake hands and things like that. But Nemesis, every time I've walked in there, it's been like, I mean, you're getting a hug whether you like it or not. So I kind of like, I don't even have to think about it.
No, you've got to commit. It's awkward for you being so tall though, because I find myself nestling into your breasts.
I mean, I've been working on them since the lockdown. My diet's gone. My moves are buxom and bountiful. You'll enjoy the next hug, mate. Definitely.
I'm not. I'm looking forward to it, mate.
For those of you who don't know, I'm actually really tall. I'm 6'4", so I'm like boob height, or everyone else is boob height on me anyway. So, okay, on that subject then, you yourself.
Or your breasts.
Yeah, honestly, can you recommend a bra? No, you're a social person, mate. You're like, you're the kind of person that's always, hanging out with people and working in a very social environment. How are you, and this is a question aside from Nemesis, how are you finding the social distancing part of the world we live in now?
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? It's just, I've been basically just distracting myself as much as possible.
Yeah.
I've been trying really not to think about it and just getting really involved in work. In a personal way, my life just is work at the minute. It just is Nemesis, which is pretty much why I've stopped doing the Celeste blog, just because Nemesis has taken up so much of my time. So for me, it's just been about distraction. Just kind of like ignoring what's going on in the world as much as possible, not reading the news, and just dealing with it in that way. And then just keeping active as well, going out cycling, still seeing as much of the outdoors as possible.
Yeah.
Going to the beach, but just keeping that social distance as much as possible, really. Yeah. So it's kind of how I've been dealing with it.
I think you've hit the nail on the head. That seems to be, the more I talk to people, the more I see this as a recurring theme. And it's those that are just staying indoors and, maybe spending their whole lives on the internet. They're the ones that seem to be suffering a little bit more than those who actually get out and go for a walk. So don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that Bonnie Henry, who is the wonderful person that's giving us all the COVID updates in BC, she's actually actively encouraging people to get outside of the house, go for a walk. Don't go socialize in a group of 10 people or 25 people at the beach, but go for a wander around and enjoy the sun. I'm looking at the sunshine right now. It's beautiful.
Yeah. I know we're very fortunate in Vancouver to live in such a beautiful place, and it is so vast. Just don't use public transport. Just walk everywhere and stay 6 feet apart. And I don't think there's any reason why you shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
And it's so good for your mental health to just be outside. I really struggle when I stay inside for too long. I just need some fresh air.
Yeah.
So just try to minimize the amount of time I was inside and just walk, exercise, and just enjoy. It's coming into summer, so
yeah.
I really need a tan, as you can probably tell.
I mean,
the sunbeds are closed as well.
Tans, yeah.
That's the worst part. The sunbed shop shut.
Yeah. So, all right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start to grab some questions that people have sent over for you. I'm actually going to open it up to anyone that wants to ask a question to Jamie right now. So the chat window is ready for you to throw your questions into, and I'm going to go and grab the ones off of Instagram. Whilst I do that, Jamie, can you tell me a little bit about, just as we end here, any recommendations for people right now for some coffees that are doing something good for you? Maybe something that surprised you, or it could even be something that you think is like a solid home brewing coffee that anyone can do. Anything you want to promote.
Yeah. So Luna just got a second release of the Kenya juice box, which is absolutely fantastic. I would wholeheartedly recommend that. That's very exciting, super juicy, very, very clean, strong like pomegranate, raspberry kind of notes. And I also believe they're donating part of that to charity as well.
They are, yeah. That's to Van FBC, yeah.
Van FBC, yeah. So that would be a coffee that I would strongly recommend. What else would we? Interesting. We're just about to get some Le Cabra coming through, which would be nice.
Excellent.
Yeah, Le Cabra's pretty much my favorite roaster of all time. So that should be landing in the next few days. I'm very excited about that. It was a bit of a funky process Colombian that I'm looking forward to receiving.
I think Rick is waving it.
Of course, Rick is. The sample Kenya as well. Or is it Rwanda? Delicious, Rick.
When you say a funky one, what are you talking about here? We're talking about natural processed, or what's define funk?
No, no. So it was washed and fermented. So it has like a double fermentation. So that fermentation just breaks down the sucralose and the sugars in the cherry.
Yep.
It then gets absorbed by the bean, and it creates like these. Funky is probably the most accessible descriptor, where it just tastes like it's not like coffee. It's really fruity. It's really exuberant, but it also has like a lot of clean complexity to it.
Okay. Now, is this something that people could easily brew at home, or are those more complex coffees quite difficult to brew?
Not necessarily, no. For someone that's brewing at home, I would strongly recommend just using a French press. It's one of my favorite brew methods. Okay. The way that I brew French press, though, is by not plunging the coffee. By plunging the coffee, it creates over extraction. At the end of the brew, you then plunge it in regular terms. That plunge creates agitation, and then that causes over extraction. Over extraction is where we get like these bitter compounds and this dry distillation. So by not plunging, just keeping the plunger at the top level of the water, and then just pouring it out slowly, it just removes all of that extraction, and you can get like an incredible cup of coffee. It's like very, very similar to cupping, which is the evaluation of coffee by Q-Grader. So yeah, that would be my recommendation. James Hoffman did a fantastic video about cupping, about the cupping French press method. And it's so strong, and it's very, very easy to do as well.
I might have to get myself an assistant for this show eventually, because I'm gonna actually put that into the chat window for everybody to see, because this is this process, this James Hoffman, it's called Ultimate French Press Technique, was an absolute game changer for me. This changed what I thought about French press, because French press was just that kind of shitty device that was, you know, at your mum's house when you went for coffee. So I wholeheartedly recommend people try this. It's awesome. It's not easy.
Yeah,
but it's easy.
It's not, no, but everyone has a French press in the back of the cupboard somewhere.
Yeah.
So, you know, dig it out and give it a go for sure.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to hit you with some questions right now. I don't see any in the chat. Let's have a look.
Keep it clean.
Yeah.
Or don't.
Chat. Yeah. No, don't see anything in the chat. Guys and girls, if you want to ask Jamie any questions, there is a chat window. If not, I'm going to start reading them off of Instagram. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 questions for you.
Here we go.
First one. You actually know the person that asked this as well. She wants to know, and to give you a clue who she is, she's someone you probably talk to quite a lot. She's pretty short. Anyway, what kind of conditioner do you use on those sexy locks?
I actually use John Frieda Dream Curls.
I mean, I was expecting like something really cheap, but that's fancy, right?
Oh yeah, it's fancy. Props to Shane for putting me onto it.
No kidding.
I really want curly hair. I'm trying to be a surfer. Dream Curls by John Frieda.
Do you have like a Paul Gascoigne style perm underneath your hat at your home?
No, I've actually just not washed my hair in a week, so it's living under a cap.
Doesn't matter. It's COVID. You can do whatever you want. Like,
hence the mustache.
2 months ago. Yeah. All right. Next question. I'm not sure what that's a weird start. What's your favorite drink?
Oh, old fashioned.
Oh, okay. That's a good answer. I was expecting you to say coffee, but an old fashioned.
No.
How do you make your old fashioned? What booze do you put in it?
I don't. I buy them from people that know what they're doing.
All right. Good answer.
Yeah. There's a fantastic cocktail joint in Manchester called Australasia, and they do it with this like big spherical ball of ice and like applewood smoke. Ooh. It's just it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And a good bourbon helps as well.
So if you get a chance, try a brandy old fashioned. I love old fashions.
Okay.
Brandy old fashions they're like really easy drinking and they don't have that kind of complexity that bourbon has. But goddamn, there, like you can drink like 20 of those and not even
Yeah.
realize. Yeah. All right.
Absolute bits afterwards.
Next question. Why are you so dope?
Why am I so dope? Because I work at Nemesis and I'm actually in the dope bakehouse.
So dope is a word that I only learned over here. I think I'd heard it before in the UK, but people use it excessively over here. You guys, obviously, that is your, you know, it's a Nemesis word. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
I've yet to be able to say it in an English accent without feeling like I sound a little bit stupid. However, it works with the the Manchester style accent, which I'm salty about, if I'm being honest.
I don't know. I think it's just, if you say it enough, people just become used to it. And then, yeah, you just have to like it or lump it.
If I say it in front of my missus, she'll be like, mate, you're almost 40.
Stop.
You can't say that
Yeah.
word.
To be honest with you, I didn't want to say that, but you are a bit older. So.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, I know what everyone's thinking. I look early 20s.
You look early 20s. You look great.
It's my curse. It really is. But, you know, scraping 40 right now. Turned 38 the other day. So, you know, feel at least 39. All right. Next question. Please define. Oh, this is another dope question. Please define in your own words the term dope.
Jeez.
That's a great
My own
question.
words.
That's from
a
Espresso
fantastic
Tech.
question. Okay. My own words to define dope. I think for us, our dope has become like a very family orientated word. Defines everything that we do in terms of quality. Mm-hmm. So everything that kind of falls under the dope umbrella is something that's had passion and care go into it. It's an elevated product of what can happen, like the food and culinary world. And then on a personal level, I would probably say that it was something that like evokes happiness in somebody.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a great answer. I was expecting like something way more basic. That's amazing.
Yeah. Normally I'm quite basic, so I was actually surprised myself.
I didn't want to say it, but all right.
Mate, you can say what you want.
All right, next question. This is from Nemesis, and I get the feeling I know who sent this one. Not a question, more of a statement. God save the Queen.
God save the Queen. That was me. Fantastic. God save her. I miss her. I miss going around for tea once a week.
Yeah, you know what? I definitely see you as someone who was in her inner circle of.
Oh yeah, for sure. My auntie actually sends her Christmas cards every year and birthday cards.
Does she get one back?
I think she did occasionally. I think she had one or two back. Yeah, she loves the Queen, just like I do. I have her on my fridge. She got a picture on the fridge.
You know what? I got a few of her in my wallet as well.
There you go.
There you go.
Pound notes.
All right. Next one. All right. I think this one's spam. Followers, Mao, Banyak, Gak, Kak. Does that mean anything to you?
Yeah, wholeheartedly agree. I think that's a very dope initiative.
Yeah. All right. This is a good one. Hang on, this is a brand new one actually. So I'm going to have to, give me 1 second. I'm going to have to expand it. This is my question for Jamie. His sister wants to know when he's going to cut his hair.
Never.
All right, easy.
It's longer than hers now, I believe.
Is that right? I mean, it was even longer.
It was even longer, yeah. Oh, there she is, yeah.
Definitely that's your sister. Awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't see. It kind of looks like you got it back in your man bun at the back.
Oh yeah, it's there. She's over there. I'm not putting it down because it's incredibly greasy. So.
All right.
Sorry, Mum.
There's another question about your haircut. It's basically the word dope and hair, sponsored by the word dope in your haircut. Will there be a haircut revealed by Jamie? Does that mean
unfortunately not, no.
Or in the future?
I don't think so, yeah.
I
think maybe in the future, give me like post-quarantine, I'll post a picture.
Actually, this is a great
How about that?
opportunity for for you to do like a laboratoire Garnier style, take your hat off, and all these like flowing locks come down, and it goes.
It won't be. It'll just be like, it'll just be a big ball of fluff.
Just pops out like
to see that.
Yeah. All right, Jamie, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate. We're coming up to 1:46. I don't want to take any more of your time. Thank you for chatting with me. You did really well. Really enjoyed it. I hope everybody else did.
Thank you very much.
Any final words you want to leave us with before we head out?
Stay safe. Remember, I love you all.
That's awesome.
There you go.
Jamie, thank you very much. Everybody else, thank you very much for joining in. Thank you for all your donations. Keep your eyes on @Vancouver Coffee Snob on Instagram for more information about the next one. It's going to be next Wednesday, same time. I'm actually going to have Alfred drinking coffee on that session. So we're going to chat about what it's like to be a coffee blogger, coffee Instagrammer, accountant, general sort of pseudo celebrity, which is what he's basically become right now. And that, like I said, will be next Wednesday at 1. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Jamie.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, mate. Cheers.